Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Warhammer 40k podcast, where we will be talking about the Grey Cup.
There's probably a Grey Cup somewhere in Warhammer universe.
Probably. It probably involves skulls.
I was about to say, it probably goes right with the Skull Cup.
Do you have anything to say to the people about what they've done to Marnius Calgarzer?
It was terrible. It was uncalled for.
You don't even know what I'm talking about, do you?
And he just wanted to help the people.
That's not true either. He's an Ultramarine. He's a cunt.
The Ultramarines are not cunts. They're just boring. They're just
That's
snarfy.
Also true. You boring cunt.
It's really more just like the Ultramarines are like the chapter that has like no weaknesses and like is like, oh, we're great administrators and diplomats and warriors and oh my, our farts don't even stink. That's how good we are.
And then they all fall to chaos immediately.
If we're talking about who falls to chaos immediately, that would be probably the Second Legion and the other Legion that doesn't exist anymore. That's my theory on the matter.
That's right. For further reference, they just kind of released some Warhammer 40k stuff, and apparently they've got a Primaris Marine, Marnius Calgar. And everybody's kind of scratching their heads going, what? How is this a thing?
That doesn't really make any sense, but...
And if you don't know what that means, then you're not cool enough for this podcast, so we should probably talk about wrestling.
You are definitely cool enough for this podcast, but you're just cool enough for this podcast.
No, I don't think so.
You're not on the upper level of this podcast.
You're on that sliding scale from Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. It was like you can elevate yourself one level to become hip. Be one of those. Hip.
We are talking pro wrestling today. We are going over the NXT episodes from the 14th and 21st November, as well as War Games and Survivor Series. No New Japan this week.
Do we have to cover Survivor Series?
We get to rip it apart. I thought you'd be happy about that.
Reasonably pleased, yes.
So, let's start with the good. And I forgot to pull it up, so you're going to have to deal with some keyboarding in the background here for a moment. Survivor Series 2018. Because I want to be able to reference actual facts on the matter. Because
I can reference actual facts because I pulled it up faster than you.
Oh, you're the man. You are the man on this one.
Yeah.
I didn't even know who the last team surviving in the tag team match was, and the answer was the Usos.
Good old Goose Bros. May they one day have a personality.
Man, Sanity was the third team out. Fuck.
Yeah.
The misuse of that team continues.
You boys.
Oh God. Oh sweet God. They were outlasted by freaking the Ascension. Oh,
they've actually given the Ascension wins in the last 2 months, dude.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know.
It is really weird.
I don't know how to take this in any real way, shape,
Well,
or form.
they should be tag team champs next week. Then, they got a couple wins.
The clones got eliminated first. Saw that coming. Whopping 3 minutes and 10 seconds. You have a 3-hour. You have a 3-hour fucking pre-show, and you made this match go 20 minutes. Congratulations.
Yeah. If you got a 3-hour pre-show, this match should go like 4.5 hours.
Yeah, pretty much.
But anyways, your boys, the Revival, they got 2 eliminations.
They have been doing things with the Revival. I just think it's too
making them lose on TV.
Too late. Basically, at the end of the day, you basically have like 3 tag teams with any steam behind them right now, and it's New Day, Usos, and Bludgeon Brothers, who are injured.
Gonna say Bludgeon Brothers don't exist anymore, so that's the thing.
Well, they'll be back.
They'll bring them back as part of the new freaking Wyatt family, which they were in the first place.
Yeah, at some point they'll end up back on that, but we'll see. Anyways, let's talk about the NXT show from the 14th to start this off, shall we? We'll go chronologically with this bitch.
I suppose.
We started off with the much hyped, and I was not looking forward to it, Bianca Belair versus Mia Yim match.
And it was sufficient.
It was sufficient. I thought she's getting better every time out. Like there are things that she couldn't do before that she can do now, so that's working. But she is not ready to be a top contender, which seems to be largely what they're grooming her for.
Yeah, she's just ready to be on the curtain jerker of a TV show now, which is a problem because you've had her on TV main events for the past 9 months. So, Jesus.
I'm very puzzled at her trajectory here because she went from feuding with Nikki Cross to feuding with Mia Yim, who just debuted. Like that feels like a massive step down the ladder, like from like basically title contention. Because I mean, if you win or draw in a feud with Nikki Cross, are you not like the number 3 woman in the company?
Actually, you're the best wrestler in the world at that point.
Pretty much, yeah. And that's not the case because you've now slid back to feuding with Mia Yim.
Mm-hmm.
We had some squabbling with the face team for War Games. They've got the match for the advantage tonight. Hanson eventually steps up and says, "Fuck this, I'm doing it." We had a little bit of setup for a Matt Riddle Cassius Ohno match.
Spoiler alert, he did not do it.
And then we had Carissa Rivera versus Lacey Evans as we continue our very green girls. The match was fine. But there was a big promo about teaching girls to live up to her standards from Lacey Evans. And perhaps I've missed this. Perhaps I have. What the hell are her standards?
They don't seem to exist. So
what does she want?
I'm very, what she wants
very
to do,
confused.
What she wants to do, as I understand it, is stop being awesome, tough, cool, or great, and just be a shit-heel, dumbass, fake housewife. So I think those are her standards. Like, you literally have to try and elevate yourself up to shit-heel Kardashian level. I think. I don't know.
So, we're big fans of the NXT creative staff, generally. But as far as the Lacey Evans character, which I had a lot... if you want to go back a couple podcasts, I can't tell you which one it was, because I don't remember. But when she came in, I said she was very green, but very, very promising, and I was hyped to see what would happen with her. I'm not hyped to see what happens with her anymore.
No, I never, ever, ever wanted to see her on TV. That's... she's in there with Bianca Belair and... the one that can't dance that was a dancer.
Vanessa Bourne.
Yeah, her, and I don't know, there's probably a couple other ones that I just don't want to, as soon as their music hits and I can figure out which one it was that is coming out, I don't want to watch them.
Like, I'm interested in the future of Bianca Belair. I'm interested in the future of Lacey Evans. Not Vanessa Bourne, because as stated, former professional dancer who can't hit a dance cue is... a little weird.
Yeah, I'm just not interested in... There's no reason to be interested in any of these people. There's no reason to be interested in Bianca Belair. Because she's got, like, half a yak stapled to her scalp, which is fake. She's in great shape. Fantastic. Awesome. She seems to be able to have some physical talent, which is great. She is seeming to pick things up and is getting better, which is great. But as previously stated, she is now just to the level where she could be the curtain jerker enhancement talent on TV and make somebody look like they know how to wrestle, which is good. But that's all she's up to at this point. Why she's been infused?
I think she's a smidge above that, but just a smidge.
This is the first match that I could say that she didn't fuck up bad in.
I don't think she fucked up bad in any of the Nikki Cross matches. Just she couldn't keep up with Nikki, which I don't see as
basically Nikki wasting a lot of time hurting her around the ring, and then putting her in a position where Nikki would then get her to do a move, so that then Nikki could sell for her, and then we can move on with the match a little bit more. And it was just, it's so boring.
That's just missing connective tissue as opposed to like fucking up though. Like and Belair was fucking up a lot with some of the other matches, like that stupid reverse power bomb thing they had her doing.
That was bad.
Wasn't executed well and is not a good idea to begin with.
No.
But Lacey Evans is the one that kind of really pees me off because like with Belair, I think you're pushing her too fast, but I think you're doing a lot of the right things. Like, she is getting better. Evans is getting better, but you've given her a very confusing character that I don't understand.
I would state for the record that I think Lacey Evans is regressing. When she first came out, when she first came out, she had a couple of matches in a row where I was like, okay, all right, I could, in the future, this could be a definite thing. And then they ruined her with some shitty character. They took away 9/10 of her moveset, and there's no motivation for the character. And she has no idea, because she's so new to the business, how to express motivation or say to somebody in the back. And this goes for, I guess, 90% of the people in WWE. But nobody knows how to go, no, this doesn't make any sense for my character. Why would I do this? Why the hell am I pissed off at anybody when I'm this person over here?
I think the problem here is that in order to object to the direction that creative is taking with you, you have to actually be able to figure out the direction that they're taking with
at least get in somebody's face and go, hey, I don't have a motivation. There's no, okay, cool, I'm brown, and apparently I'm a foreigner, even though I'm Canadian, just to put your boy Jinder Mahal on point. It's like, yeah, but he's Canadian. He's not Indian. He's not, and apparently can't really speak Hindi, or if there's another dialect I don't know about, I'm sorry. But it's that kind of thing in a nutshell. That is what Bianca Belair is doing. But Bianca Belair seems to be very slowly piecing these kind of things together. Her character is unreasonably arrogant for no reason. She's never accomplished a single thing in her career.
No, like Bianca Belair's character is not justified in any real shape or form. But I understand the core, egotistical motivation. Lacey Evans is just like, what is this character supposed to be?
Yeah, she's a Marine. She was a door breacher. She's the first one in the room. She's tough as shit. It's just too bad that she's the worst, shittiest housewife in the world right now that you would kick out of your store because she's harassing your goddamn employees.
Yeah, well, that's kind of where I'm getting at. This is you had a really, really built-in character with Lacey Evans. You had a sexy, hot Marine, badass. There was all kinds of things to work with there, just naturally, and this is what you came up with.
Yeah.
This actually might be the worst example of WWE/NXT creatives work in the last year, to be honest.
Yep.
I just don't get it.
I've gone from being completely and utterly repulsed by anything that Bianca Belair was doing to, I can kind of see that hopefully in 4 or 5 years she's going to be pretty good in the ring if she keeps doing it this way. But now I don't want to see Lacey Evans. I don't want to see not Evan Bourne, the other one, Bjorn.
Vanessa Bourne.
Well, yeah, that one. I don't want to see her. I really still don't want to see Bianca Belair, but I can see that there may be some light way down that tunnel. And then there's a variety of other ones that are just kind of meh filler. And then you've got, Nikki Cross, who is desperately trying to do anything because she's clearly the best female wrestler they've got. And
her or Kairi Sane?
I wouldn't.
If you let Zayn off the hook.
Off of what hook?
Well, Zayn's had to work with girls who probably can't handle her full arsenal for a while, and I do include Shayna Baszler in that, who is very good but still very green.
Yeah, that's fair.
And
Zayn is. I don't know. If we never get to see her full arsenal, is she even really that good?
You can go watch it in Japan.
If a tree falls in the woods, who gives a shit?
I mean, there definitely is part of that thing. If you just watch WWE, you don't know how good she is, and if you're WWE, why do you want someone to go watch Japanese pro wrestling to appreciate how good your property is?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a bit weird.
I mean, with
it's the same problem with Nakamura, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, with Asuka, she was able to. I mean, I was talking about Nikki having to corral Bianca Belair and like sheep herd her into position and get her to do a thing, and then it's just like so much wasted time in a match trying to get somebody to be where they need to be to hit their spot and they fuck it up. But with Asuka was able to do that and get herself over and do other things. Yes, she had, I would say, a better crop of talent to work with.
A tremendously better crop of talent.
But even if she, it's still NXT, so you still have, like, the nobody getting the title shot for no reason, or a non-title match. And you still had stuff where she had to do those sort of things, but she was able to do it much better.
Not to the same
Kairi
level.
Sane shows me she can do that and unleash 3/4 of her offense in one match, then I'm still waiting.
Not to the same level, though. Like, when you think about Asuka, like, the worst, greenest wrestler she had to wrestle was Ember Moon.
Pretty fucking dangerous at the time.
Yeah, but, like, everyone else was better. You got matches with Mickie James in there, Bayley, Banks, others that were coming through that had significant independent experience. That's the difference, is that when you look at what Kairi Sane has had to work with, it's, if you take away the Mae Young Classic, who's the best worker she's gotten to work with in a one-on-one match? Like, she got to work with Nikki Cross in the 4-way, but if we're looking one-on-one strictly, what's the best worker she's got to work with?
I don't remember, to be honest.
Because it's probably Shayna Baszler, and like Baszler, for the amount of time she's been in the business, is fucking amazing.
Yeah,
but we're still talking about a girl who's been in wrestling. Let's see. I'm going to pull this up, but I believe it's not going to be more than like 2 years.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how long you.
Yeah, 2000. She retired from 2015 in April. Was when she pulled out of a bout. Her debut in pro wrestling came in March of 15. So she's approaching her. So she's a little over 3 years, approaching her fourth year. And keep in mind that, that was splitting time to start with. Like, she was still trying to do the MMA career for a while. And her full-time wrestling career doesn't begin until 2017. So, when that's your best worker to work with, it makes it harder to look like Asuka. Now, I do think Asuka is a better wrestler. I do. If you're asking me who's the hotter commodity, Kairi Sane or Asuka, my answer is Asuka. That's part of the equation, but part of the equation is just that the NXT title picture right now is very devoid of not talent per se, but experience and polished product.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, half the reason for that is because they're not pushing actual talent, which is weird. Like, they take Nikki Cross off TV for a month and a half, or and they still haven't established the fact that Candice LeRae is probably one of their top 5, top 4 wrestlers.
I would rank her the third best female wrestler in the promotion at the moment.
Yeah, there you go. So I mean, and you're never gonna put her anywhere near a title. Never.
Probably not, because I'm pretty sure she was just signed because of who she's married to. I don't mean that in like kind of the negative way. I think that's really all WWE wanted to do with it. They wanted to use her as a prop. Yeah, that's
probably their headspace, yeah.
Yeah. She's a prop for Gargano's storylines.
Yeah,
and you've seen this because they brought in all this great talent for the Mae Young Classic both times, and what they actually signed was the greenest of green girls.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't, and some exceptions. Obviously, Kairi Sane got signed, and Io Shirai is now a thing.
And but they had her signed before there was even a thing. They just used that as a spotlight for her.
Yeah,
and then did nothing with her for a year.
Yeah, and until now they really haven't featured her, and we'll see what they do with Shirai. Presumably we'll get Toni Storm in NXT UK.
She's going to be in NXT UK.
Yeah. So I mean, there's some stuff, and they apparently are very high on Nixon Newell if they can ever stop hurting her, who's also a very good wrestler. But yeah, they signed the Lacey Evanses, the Tainara Contis, the Bianca Belairs, the Vanessa Bournes, Dakota Kai, who's a step above the girls I just mentioned, but still has some things to figure out.
Yeah, and they pushed her hard for like 2 months, and then she hasn't been on TV since then.
Well, she came out in the War Games pay-per-view, and other than that, her biggest moment was being on Team NXT for the League of Legends game. So there you go. Where she was the MVP, dumpster firing Seth Rollins repetitively. So there you go. That's something.
As is his role in life.
Pretty much. Apparently Seth Rollins not very good at video games, despite being, really good at video games, per se. We finished off with Hanson versus Kyle O'Reilly in the War Games match to determine who gets the advantage. This turned into a clusterfuck, with everyone getting involved, and eventually O'Reilly hit a belt shot on Hanson, got the pin. He had been losing the match when it was a fair fight, but in the end the heels win, which is how it should be. You want the heels to have the goddamn advantage heading into War Games. Impact needs to take notes on that if they ever do another War Games battle, and again give the faces the advantage.
I see now. I want the faces. I would like the faces to have an advantage, so that the heels have to cheat even harder. That's what I want. I don't want.
The only problem is getting to the War Games match, which we'll get to, but we'll break it down here. The cheating was dumb.
Yes,
very dumb. So preview of that. No, I'm not terribly high on the War Games match. I liked it better than last year's, and I know people liked last year's. I'm in the minority. That's fine. Take it for what it is. But there are some significant logic holes that I'm gonna get into when we get to that match. So let's talk about TakeOver War Games. We opened up with Matt Riddle destroying Cassius Ohno with a big knee to knock him out. This pays off a pre-show feud. How do you feel about this? Would you have preferred like a competitive match so we could have turned this into a feud, or
I would have just had them brawl. I mean, why the fuck would a rookie guy come down, start a match on his own, and just kind of like, in what land does that even happen? No place on earth does that happen.
Yeah,
makes no sense.
Didn't really make any sense unless you've got some kind of gimmick where he's like really, really in with the promoter, the manager. But there's been no. I mean, Regal likes having Matt Riddle there. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, but there's no reason to believe he's got that much stroke.
Yeah, there's not that much stroke. Like you could have possibly done this with like EC3 and just made it money.
Yeah,
like that would work.
He literally just hands the ref a stack of money and starts a fucking match.
Yeah, that would work, but this didn't really work. And I'm not really a fan of just destroying Ohno like that because I'm really not sure how you hype me up for anything further between those two.
No, there's no reason to ever continue this whatsoever. I mean, you've got motivation for Ohno now to be pissed off because he just spent 4 weeks ranting, raving, abusing people, talking a mad shit, and it's over in a second and a half. Fuck off.
Yeah, and the problem with that is, sure, you give like more motivation to Hero to be angry, but like he's there already. Like that's
Who gives a shit if he's angry? You just lost, bud.
Yeah, it's not an evolution of the character in really any way, shape, or form.
Go sit in a hole and be mad. Be mad all day. Be mad as hard as you can. Doesn't matter. You still got wrecked in less than a second.
Like, what the hell does one do with Ohno now? And then
call him up to the main roster.
And then who the hell does Riddle feud with now? Because, like, seems like anyone else I really want to see Riddle feud with is kind of otherwise engaged for the time being.
Yeah, they're going to call EC3 up to the main roster as soon as possible. Apparently, they were supposed to call him up right after SummerSlam. The problem is that he got a concussion in that match against the Velvety Dream.
Mm-hmm. Which would explain somewhat why that match was very not particularly good.
No, that was not a good match. And that's kind of, I mean, we've talked about it before, but that's, again, sort of an indictment on Velveteen Dream. He's just not ready to be that guy yet. That match is kind of crystallizes that argument because if you've got a guy in your match who's not the guy calling the match, and one guy's got a concussion, and your match caller is the guy with the concussion, and the match isn't any good, that means the other guy doesn't have the chops to step up and handle a match like that. And if you can't handle that match, which wasn't even the main event, what are you going to do?
Well, I mean, he ended up getting pushed to a title shot on this card, and the match was very good. But I tend to credit Ciampa with that a little bit more than I do.
Oh yeah, 100%. I don't. I mean, I saw a bunch of hype, and we'll get to the match a little bit later. But I mean, I saw all kinds of hype thumbnails everywhere about how the Velveteen Dream saved Takeover. Velveteen Dream takes over Takeover. Velveteen Dream, best thing on Takeover. And I watched the match, and it was fine.
It was the second best match of the night.
Yeah, but everything else was shitty, contrived circus nonsense. And so, if you're the second best match of the night, I guess that means that you're, the least gimmicky trapeze artist routine.
I mean, I really enjoyed the match. I really enjoyed his match with Aleister Black, but I agree with a lot of what you're saying. He still has some things to put together and figure out. And it shows when he's working with lower level competition. Like it's kind of like the opposite of Bianca Belair in a little bit, in the sense that we talked about when Bianca has to go up against like a Nikki Cross, she can't really keep up with her. Dream, I think, can keep up with just about anybody, but he's not going to elevate anybody.
No,
right now. That may come, but not right now.
Yeah, it'll come in 3 or 4 years. It's like everybody else that they're overhyping on NXT.
So then we had Kairi Sane challenging Shayna Baszler in a 2 out of 3 falls match, and this was early on, getting Shayna up 1-0 because the Horsewoman interfered to get a tap out. Kairi Sane did tie this thing up. Horsewoman interfered again. Dakota Kai showed up to back her up. Io Shirai showed up to back her up and took way, way, way too long with that moonsault. Whoa.
Yeah, she needed... First she had to come... She had to saunter down to ringside. Reasonably quick saunter. Then she had to put on her specialty climbing gear and get herself up onto the top turnbuckle. Then she had to take off the safety climbing gear. And then she had to make sure that very safely she spun around and planted her feet firmly. And then she needed to look back and make sure everybody was in their position and make sure everybody was perfectly where they should be, especially the faces.
In fairness, I wouldn't trust Jessamine Duke and Myrna Shavir to be in the right place.
Yeah, no, I'm totally, I'm right there with you on that one. But I'm sick and tired of these spots where they do all of this hokey shit, and then the face lands on the faces.
Speaking of nepotism, because we talked about it briefly with Candice LeRae, but am I the only one that's terrified of the idea of Jessamine Duke as a pro wrestler?
I'm going to be honest with you. I've never seen either of these people fight, and I have no interest in watching them wrestle because, again, they have no motivation. I have no reason other than, oh my God, they interfered in the match. They must be bad people. It doesn't matter. I don't give a shit. I don't give a fuck who they are. It doesn't matter.
I say this as someone who's seen actually most of Jessamine Duke's career, because it was almost entirely in the UFC and Invicta, which I watch. Her level of coordination as an MMA fighter was not good. It was like Wes Sims level of bad. Like, someone who's really tall, so that kind of translated into some wins because, like, girls didn't want to just, like, step through her punches. But, I foresee her being just not a good pro wrestler in the sense that I think she's going to hurt somebody.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And less certain about Marina Shafir, who is a judo background girl, so maybe that can work out. But these girls have gotten the free ride off of being Ronda's buddies, and Marina Shafir is married Roderick Strong. So, oh man, I'm very trepidatious about these two actually getting in the ring and having to work.
Yeah, and again, I don't know who these people. Listen, I watch MMA a lot less than I used to do, but I watch MMA. I have heard these names around, but all I hear is how shitty they were at life, and now they're trying to be not shitty at wrestling. And yeah, I'm right there with you. I don't think that they're going to be. Hey, maybe that without dire physical consequences on the line, they're going to be a lot better at this than they were at fighting. But without impressed upon them the fact that dire physical consequences are still on the goddamn line, somebody going to go down with a bad injury.
I thought the match was pretty good from the Kyrie and Shayna standpoint. The storyline was fine. It had a really cool ending with the insane elbow getting reversed into a roll-up.
I dislike that a great deal.
Oh, okay. Explain.
So mechanically it worked fine, only not really so much. Because if you're just going to no-sell the big finish, okay, so you might as well cut Kairi Sane right now. Because her big move was just no-sold.
Didn't she just completely miss?
No, she hit 100%.
I thought she missed.
Nope. She landed that elbow square, and then instead of being completely obliterated, Baszler's is like, "Oh, I'm just going to roll over. That's fine. I'll just do that." And then she got straight up, walked out of there. She not only got straight up and walked out of there, but she got straight up, went over, pulled her buddies up off the floor, and then got out of there.
Yeah, so, looking at it that way, I'm on side with you at that point. I thought the elbow had missed, and that was kind of the gimmick that Baszler had moved out of the way.
Yeah, so if you had accelerated the timeline, if you were able to convince me that hypothetical situation that Sane was throwing the elbow, but she overshot the mark, and you were able to then do a rolling kind of basically an on-the-move interceptor schoolboy. Okay, cool. I can not a schoolboy, but like a crucifix, and then you just roll her over. That would have worked fine. But I can't see the best elbow in the business land square in somebody's chest, and then you just no-sell the whole fucking thing. Cut her. Just cut Sane right now. You might as well. You just fucking threw away her whole thing. Tiny. She's tiny, and she packs a huge punch with that goddamn elbow and the sliding D and some various things. Although the suplex fucking nail in the coffin on the ring apron thing, that was dope as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you might as well just cut her now. You threw away the move. It's like kicking out of the jackhammer from Goldberg on one. You might as well just cut Goldberg. What's the fucking point?
Also, you did have your kind of standard, my problem with WWE face booking, which is the horsewomen are going to be out there.
Yep.
Why don't you bring Shirai and Kai out there with you?
Not only that, but Sane had cut a couple of promos saying, if you're going to bring your friends, I'm bringing my friends. And she had she's like Billy No Mates. She got no friends, ain't got no help, got the shit kicked out of her because she doesn't have any friends. And apparently she and Io Shirai, who I swear to God, at some point, some dumbass on commentary is going to call her Io Sherry. Apparently, Japanese people don't stick together, or I don't know what it is. But apparently, you're Billy No Mates.
Mm-hmm. Actually, Shirai wasn't even the first one out there to help her. It was Dakota Kai.
Correct. So, which I understand because Dakota Kai's got history with Baszler, so that makes total sense.
Mm-hmm.
But she should have been out there in the fucking first place.
Yeah. So some not great things, although I mean, if that finish comes off a little better, I think I'd probably end up liking the match. Because I liked the match when I thought the finish came off the way it did in my head.
Yeah, no, I totally I'm right there with you. But I mean, here's the way they should have done it. They should have had just had everybody out there together. They should have had the entourage with the entourage, and then you have these rookie hostile little ferret people outsmart the heels at every turn, and then Baszler gets the win, and then yay, we're the best heels in the business. We're awesome. You can't fuck with us. We are some horse persons, even though we're not horse persons because that's a wrestling thing. And I would like to see the wrestlers, defeat the former MMA fighters in the horse person battle.
I'm not really a fan of the four. And to be clear, this is not even a pro wrestling thing. I was not a fan of the four horsewomen concept when it was being peddled in MMA because, I mean, in wrestling, the four horsemen were always four. Well, not always. There were some weak incarnations of it, but the ones we remember were top-notch people all around. And in MMA, Ronda Rousey, okay, you can have her as a horsewoman. That works. That's fine. Baszler, maybe is the weakest horsewoman works. What the fuck are Duke and Shafir doing in there?
Yeah. You get to be pony girls. You're not even horsewomen.
Yeah.
Wait, that's a whole other fetish. Never mind.
I don't know. When it started off, like Shafir was an undefeated amateur fighter who was like the next armbar queen sort of thing, like the next Ronda Rousey. So I don't know. Maybe that makes sense, but yeah. I was pretty much ruling it out as like, why is Jessamine Duke in here? That's like putting I need like Norman Smiley in the Horseman. That's
Which
what that is.
You say that as a joke, and I'm sort of kind of fine with it.
Yeah, I'm fine with it from a comedic standpoint, but not from a serious standpoint. Fine. Let's go with a serious one. That would be it would be like putting, I don't know, one of Raven's flock outside of Kidman in the Four Horsemen.
Oh, damn it! I was going to make a sick boy joke.
Yeah, like Kidman, sure, Horace. Fine, but Horace Hogan, yeah. That's what this is.
That's nepotism.
All right. Then we had Aleister Black versus Johnny Gargano in the match of the night.
Yeah, no question.
Fully enjoyed this match. Pretty much every aspect of it. There was good psychology. There was excellent moves. There was brutality. There was the interesting deal with like Aleister Black doing the Indian sit right in front of Gargano and asking for his best shot and reversing it into a pinning predicament, and then Aleister getting the reverse treatment when he goes for the Black Mass kick, and Gargano's like, just hit me with it, and then rolls him up to almost win the match. Those were good moments. Solid work. I enjoyed Gargano as the somewhat losing grip on reality heel who thinks he's a face. Fantastic. I like this match is everything I wanted it to be.
Yep. The only thing I'm still conflicted as to Gargano losing. Because if you want him to take that, like, when are we waiting for him to take the next step down that road? Why would we wait? Why?
I want to see it in his next feud.
What do you mean next feud? Who's he going to feud with?
Next match, then, whatever. But like my thing is that you kind of want to get Black you want Black to get his payback, and you want Gargano to start winning. So you're kind of two contrasting things here, which is why I probably would have saved this. Not saved this, but like before War Games had done a lot more with Gargano beating people. To get the hype train rolling, then at least there'd be something to stay hyped about after this. Whereas like right now, Gargano's, win-losses do matter, and Gargano's win-loss record, it's not great.
He's lost all the big ones.
He's kind of like in a Chris Weidman zone, to use a UFC reference, where like we know Chris Weidman is a good fighter, we understand that. But he's also lost to every, other elite middleweight in the UFC outside of Kelvin Gastelum. And it's a bit of a problem to take him seriously going for a title at any point in the near future. And Gargano's kind of in that same boat. Where, presumably you want him to at some point take the title off of Ciampa or join Ciampa as a heel. And I'm not really sure... No. This could be the pathway to joining Ciampa as a heel. He gets beaten down so much that he has to turn to Ciampa.
Yeah, well, and or Ciampa swoops in and goes, "Hey, you remember me?
You
Remember
remember
what
me?
we were together?
We were really good together. Think about how good we could be as heels."
Yeah, and so I mean, I if that's the way they go, fine. But I don't want to wait 3 months or 4 months of Ciampa losing and losing and
You mean
losing
Gargano
and
losing?
losing. Oh yeah, sorry, Gargano just getting like, yay, you lost, yay, you lost again, hey, you lost again, hey, you cheated and you lost again, hey,
Yeah, it's
you're
kind
just
of the
losing.
thing is that he's not, he was doing kind of the lovable loser storyline for a while there, and now
Yeah.
as a heel, that storyline doesn't really work in any way.
No, you
Um,
can't be a heel lovable loser because no one loves you.
yeah, you're not supposed to be loved, and the crowd is turning on him per the storyline, which is nice. Not like full
Yeah,
blown heel
but
reactions, but they're there.
if they keep going the way they're going, they're gonna have a Jinder Mahal in their hands where nobody cares. You're just a loser and angry
Well,
loser
admittedly,
enhancement talent.
no one cared about Mahal to begin with.
Well, yeah, they were never given a reason to.
This more feels like Jeff Hardy after he had the match with the Undertaker. Only,
Oh yeah,
only without the heelness, basically. Like you had that big moment where like Hardy got the big thing, and then you kind of went with like Hardy became like this mopey fucker who pseudo feuded with Shawn Michaels for no apparent reason. Like
which should have been awesome, but wasn't.
should have been awesome, but it was one sided because it was basically like they didn't even really have matches. It was just Shawn Michaels going out like, "I see a lot of myself in you," and then Jeff being like, "Fuck you," and getting super kicked. Like that was
Delightful.
that was basically it. That's kind of where we are with Gargano right now. So
Yeah, I
hopefully
don't
we got
want that
something
bullshit.
soon.
I want a reign of terror. I don't want fucking mopey goddamn. Why do you think I'm the bad guy? Because you're doing bad guy stuff. Because
you jumped a
that's
guy
the way
from
you've
behind.
been fucking booked.
Mind you, the commentary is really trying to oversell cowardly Gargano a little hard. Not that you can't make references to it, like he did twice jump Black from behind, and that's why I have no problem with Black calling him a coward. But the commentary is really trying to, and this has been an NXT thing where they'll try to hammer home this storyline that just really isn't quite there.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
There's a spark of it.
Homeboy attacked another guy from behind twice. Cool. When he was challenged directly face to face, he didn't run. Not a coward. End of argument. And can we just have a discussion about how shitty the commentary has been for weeks now?
Well, that's what I'm getting at, is the commentary's really trying to beat home these just not really tremendously existing storylines. And we're going to talk about that with the War Games match for fucking sure.
But it's just, you know what? I probably would have enjoyed this whole card a great deal more if they would not have had commentary.
I think I even said that when we were watching it.
Yeah, I think we both did. But it's just Jesus, just shut up. Fuck. We don't listen. We're watching it. We're watching it right now. We're watching it.
It's are the guys who do WWE Raw and SmackDown commentary doing the NXT commentary now?
Yeah, Jesus.
Just Ronaldo and Nigel, they know their shit. So, I don't know what's going on right now.
I have no idea. Shitty scripts. That's basically what's going on.
Anyways, then we had the title match. Mr. Tommaso Ciampa defending against the Velveteen Dream.
Second best match of the night. But
second best match of the night.
There's a big gap between first and second, I think.
Yeah. Another example of this whole storyline is I don't recall Ciampa really making a big deal about being the greatest ever. I don't really.
No, he's never once in any point said anything about greatness.
He talks
about endlessly talking about his title, his desire for the title, his need for the title. He has to have this my fucking title. He doesn't say anything about greatness ever.
And they kind of throughout the match tried to beat that in there, and I'm like, again, Ciampa, of course, being the ultimate heel in this match. I do kind of wonder if he actually hurt his leg and or foot in the match, because there was the bit where where the boot got kind of ripped open. Like, he ripped his own boot open to do something and took it off, and it's like...
Well, I thought it just came unlaced. I think now, and I could be wrong, and maybe there is a real injury there, but I'm watching it, and his boot, like, the laces were undone, and maybe I missed something before, like, he unlaced it, like, this was a stage-by-stage thing, and I missed the first part.
It's a bit of a stage-by-stage thing. Like, I think he started the unlacing process. It's like, I don't know, like, he hurt his foot in a way that the boot was becoming very uncomfortable or something.
That could be, but I missed that. I just think, I thought that it just come undone. And he didn't have time, because he's working with an amateur, so he was never given time to just do the fucking boot back up. So from what I could tell, he just kind of incorporated that into the match. Which, if that's true, that's a definitive statement on how good Ciampa was and how much more work Velveteen Dream needs. Because if you just can't give your boy, your dance partner out there, time to lace his boot back up, come on, son.
Well, especially when you're doing like spots on the outside where, like, at one point Ciampa ate a DDT to the table, for example. Like, there's plenty of chance to set up a spot that's gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna go down, you're gonna do the boot up, and then we resume. Boom.
Yeah, or do a dragon screw leg whip, and then like, oh, I gotta hold my leg, and I can do my boot up while I'm holding my leg. Be creative out there. But
yeah.
But if I'm totally wrong about that, and there was a definitive injury, and there's a reason he had to take his boot off, and still incorporate it into the match, that's still kind of a statement towards Ciampa.
Yeah, Ciampa was great in this match. Outside of the random picking on Morrow part was just... I feel that was not really set up in any way. Like, he can't hear Morrow's commentary and how bad it was.
No, and, like, did he just, like, I think I reached over to get a beverage or something, and I look up, and Morrow's got this look on his face like somebody shot his mom.
Yeah, he got some shit thrown at him. Like,
did he get, like, or I thought Ciampa might have slapped him, or, like, I don't know what it was.
I don't recall him slapping him. I think he just threw shit at him and yelled at him.
Oh, that could be. I was given the distinct impression that Ciampa might have slapped him in the face. I was like, well, that'll definitely get you heel heat, 100%.
That was what set up the big DDT into the table. And there was a bit where Dream ends up crashing and burning on a diving elbow, and DDT on the partition for the finish. I like the finish. It's doesn't damage the Dream because he kind of had the match won to a certain degree. Also, earlier on in the match, Ciampa got away with like a false tap out. So you got visual tap, you got end of the match. He's got the big advantage, and then he made kind of a rookie mistake, which is still what he is, and got beat. So I really like that finish.
Yeah, I mean, everybody came looking out strong. Dream's performance in this match, and in reflection, his performance vis-a-vis the rest of the card, vastly overblown. Vastly.
Oh, very much so. I don't see how he saved the card in really any way. Like,
no,
it wasn't even the best match on the card. So
no,
I don't follow that.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't know what all the hype was supposed to be. It was better than the last TakeOver match he was in, 100%.
And the problem does continue to be that the best matches Velveteen Dream has are the ones where he eventually does the job. So,
which is weird.
Well, yeah, like the Aleister Black match. I mean, I guess he won the Lars Sullivan match, which we did enjoy.
Yeah.
No, Sullivan won that because, of course, Ciampa interfered. Yeah, so we had doing the job to Sullivan, doing the job to Gargano, doing the job to Black, doing the job here to Ciampa. So, yeah, I mean, I guess that's the thing. Is again, he's able probably before he should be able to keep up with these guys and let them like do their full thing. Mm-hmm. But he's still not capable of, I think, carrying a match on his own right now.
No, I'm right there with you on that one. I don't think it's really time to put him in.
I am incredibly excited about his future, though. Like we were talking about some other people that I'm kind of like the Belairs, the Lacey's, where it's like I want to be hopeful for the future. Velveteen Dream, I just am very hopeful for the future. I am hyped, and he's going to do great things. But he's got some things to put together yet, which is, again, not really a bad thing because I think he's been in the business for, let's see here, Patrick
9
Clark,
years.
Velveteen Dream. I doubt that he'd be a teenager. The Velveteen Dream is 23 years old and has basically been doing this since 2015. So remember when we said like Shayna Baszler basically started at the same time as Shayna Baszler, actually even later. First match was October. So there you go.
My goodness.
He's only a little over 1 year. He's a little bit over 2 years into his career. Pretty damn good. Or 3 years, sorry. Into his career. He's pretty fucking good. So that's, in no way a diss on him. But not the time to put the title on him, so I'm kind of happy with that. Then we got the Undisputed Era versus War Raiders, Ricochet, and Dunn.
Peter dude.
We started off with Adam Cole and Ricochet, and people coming in. The storyline was Dunn wanting in, but the War Raiders both kind of saying, "Fuck it, no, we're going in." Yeah. Then we had the weirdness, and I'm not in any way a fan of this spot. The last member of the Era to go in is Bobby Fish. And he takes a padlock and padlocks Peter Dunne in his cage. Now, I don't like this on, frankly, just about any level. Level A, the referees have freaking bolt cutters backstage. We know this. We've seen this. Duh. You're doing a cage match with locks like you would have bolt cutters anyways. So why this took as long to solve as it did, and thus why would the heels bother doing it, is pretty stupid. 2, in the logic of the match, is they made a big deal about how War Games does not begin, and I really hated that terminology, until everyone is in the cage. So while Peter Dunne is locked in his team's cage, you cannot win the match. Sure, you have a 4-on-3 beatdown and whatever, but you had a 4-on-3 beatdown before Dune came in. You could, would you not, that's the thing, is Fish wasted a bunch of time locking him in there. So it's just go to the ring, do your 4-on-3 beatdown, put them down, let Dune come in, and then quickly pin the other guy while one of your guys deals with Dune.
Yarp.
That's, I don't, outside of heel for the sake of being heel, what was the point of this?
There was none. It was very contrived, much like everything else was contrived for this card. And it was boring and stupid. And the crowd really wasn't. The crowd was like, hey, okay, I guess we gotta wait for the match to begin. And nobody cared. It was,
Also, the referees taking time to use the other key to try to open the lock. It's oh my god,
it doesn't work.
It doesn't. Well, of course not, because it's not a key for that lock.
No, because Bobby Fish took the key from the lock that was on his cage, locked the lock on the other cage, and then threw it to. Well, I mean, I was watching the thing. Was the ref not watching how that worked? So
I guess not.
they had 3 minutes to go backstage, grab the bolt cutters that are right there at gorilla position,
or the duplicate key that comes with any padlock.
Yeah, or the duplicate key. I think I probably brought that up while we're watching it. There's 2 sets of there's 2 keys for every lock you buy. So unless Pete Dunne's dad, Kevin Dunne, fucking ate the Bucky Beaver Teeth keys, there's another set of key. There's another key kicking around there, bud.
Yeah.
So,
in the end, the Era does the job here to Dune and company, with Ricochet and Dunn getting the pin on. Who'd they pin?
Adam Cole.
Adam Cole, baby. So, yeah.
Yeah, with your boy Ricochet doing the double rotation moonsault, which I predicted. Moments before.
They have got to fix the rules of War Games
Yeah.
Just the terminology they use. Like, I understand that like you can't get a pinfall until everyone's in there, but to constantly say the match has not begun, like CZW with Cage of Death, which is War Games basically.
Yeah, the match has clearly begun.
Does not do that nonsense. And keep in mind, this is CZW, where their commentary is guilty of all kinds of nonsense. So, yeah, get your act together. I don't really know what else to say on that matter.
Yeah, and the rule where if you go over the top of the cage, you lose is the dumbest fucking thing in the world.
Yeah, that would be the rule that I would like to see corrected. Maybe you eliminate yourself.
I don't even want the rule changed. I think it serves a purpose, but in no way, shape, or form would anybody go up to the top with anybody else anywhere close to them for any reason, because your team instantly loses the match and you have to be the biggest, dumbest motherfucker on the planet to do that.
And they do it quite repetitively.
You have to be straight up clinically diagnosed as having major brain damage to do that spot. And they've done it 2 years in a row.
Yep.
What the fuck is... It serves an absolute purpose. The problem is, they've never used that purpose. It's to dissuade chicken shit heels from just running out of the match. The problem is, they haven't put any chicken shit heels in this match. So all they're doing is making their faces look like they have a clinical level of brain damage.
Pretty much.
Nobody likes. Nobody wants to look up to a hero with brain damage.
Unless they legitimately have brain damage.
Or unless you are legitimately brain damaged.
And they're like overcoming it. Like that would be cool. But we have people presumably of sound faculties behaving as if they are brain damaged.
Yeah. Like, oh, if he goes over, they lose. Well, then get the fuck down, you retard.
Yeah, well, I think that's also, again, the commentary selling just stupid shit. So Survivor Series was just a giant burial of SmackDown. Because not only did SmackDown lose, they lost everything but the pre-show.
And there's a story behind the pre-show, if you haven't heard it.
Oh, hit me.
So, they weren't told.
Oh.
Yeah. That's the story.
Nice.
Yeah, they just weren't told. They weren't told that SmackDown wasn't winning.
Cool. Because they lost the women's team battle. They lost the battle of the secondary champions. They lost the tag team battle. They lost the actual battle. They lost the women's battle, although I guess you could say Charlotte Flair got herself disqualified. That's closest they came to a win. And they lost the Brock Lesnar versus Daniel Bryan champion versus champion match.
Yeah, and they had Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Danielson, if you prefer, which I do. So they had him turn absolute heel on your boy Albert Jason Styles the night before, and then had him work face in this match.
Yeah, so, I mean,
was this another case of somebody just wasn't told?
Your problem, I guess, is that how do you work heel against Brock Lesnar? Really? Like, is that
you
even
just
really...
do dastardly fucking things?
Yeah, the thing is I don't even think that would necessarily work, because I think that gets cheered.
I mean, you're probably not wrong.
Like, I think that the irony here is that, they listen to the crowd in this regard, but set themselves up in a lose-lose predicament, because heel Daniel Bryan versus heel Brock Lesnar is just not really the match we want to see.
Nope. Although, if your boy Brian Bryanson there could have come out with shaved face, shaved head, maroon trunks on, maroon knee pads and kick plates, and just intense as shit, and then just took fucking Brock Lesnar out behind the woodshed and kicked the shit out of him, Boy, have mercy, you would have, like, Stone Cold 3.0, which then they would have buried him into oblivion, but whatever.
Well, he's too small for that, sir.
Doesn't matter. If he unleashed American Dragon Danielson all over again, fuck.
And in fairness, I want to pass some of the blame to Bryan and Styles to a degree, because of course Styles asked to have the title taken off of him. Bryan asked to go heel. You know, it's kind of like, where do we go from here? Really,
where do we go?
And I don't mean like I don't mean in like the grand sense of things. I mean, Daniel Bryan as a heel can work. AJ Styles is not the champion, but the chasing guy or whatever, that works. That's perfectly fine. But like just the timing of it, because you're heading into Survivor Series where the champion has to face Brock. It's like. Yeah. But we really want a babyface. Like, I guess what you do is you have Daniel Bryan win the title as a babyface, face Brock, and then start a heel turn as, like, heel champion. Like, that would be how I would do it if Daniel wants to go heel.
Yeah, just delay it 1 week. Just have, okay, AJ Styles wants to drop the title. You're telling me you can't just have Bryan Danielson go out there and win the title? You're telling me that's not a thing you can do?
Apparently not.
Just go out there and win that title. There you go. Done. And then he loses to Brock. And then he's angry.
Yeah, and it starts like an angry thing. And like, and the American Dragon comes out. Like, boom.
Yeah.
Bingo. That's how I would have done it. But yeah, we went into a very weird place with that match. But let's take it in chronological order. You could skip the women's match entirely. Nia Jax is your sole survivor with a bunch of leg drops after helping Asuka eliminate Banks for no reason at all.
Yeah.
There wasn't really any great performances overall. Wasn't terrible, but it wasn't really anything I would recommend going and watching.
They did do a double countout for zero reason whatsoever, just because they didn't know what the fuck to do.
It was a bit weird that they did the double countout for Bayley and Deville. I'm like, what are you protecting there? You've ruined Bayley, and there's nothing protecting Deville. So Don't really get that.
Yep.
Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura was fine, serviceable. Nakamura's finisher got buried because he fucking Kinshasa Rollins in the back of the head and got a 2 count.
Yep.
After having whipped his ass with a bunch of other shit to set up the Kinshasa, so...
Yep.
Not happy with that. Rollins wins with a curb stomp. I wouldn't bother going back to watch it, and that's a shame because I think that Nakamura and Rollins could have a really, really good match.
Probably if they weren't in the WWE.
And I say that is like, I guess a Rollins hater, just in the sense that I don't like him as much as everyone else does, although you like him less than I do, so I guess you're there.
Yeah.
But I mean,
you know what? I think it would probably be all right. It's just that A, they're in the WWE, so they're not allowed to actually have wrestling matches, and B, I just don't think that. I mean, it could be a star-making performance for Rollins. It could be, an actual really good match that he could have in his career, because I've never seen him have an actually really good match ever.
I would say his three-way with Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar was actually quite spectacular.
I have not seen it.
It was when he cashed in for the title the first time.
That's not a match. That didn't he come out and just kick a guy in the head and then walk off with the belt?
He actually cashed in at the beginning of the match and joined the match.
Oh, okay. Never mind then.
That was quite good actually. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I was unaware of that.
He's had some really good matches, but I find people want to rank Rollins as the best performer in WWE right now, and it's not something I can co-sign on.
I don't see how that's even mathematically possible unless a lot of people get fucking hurt.
Yeah, best performer in the Shield, maybe.
I would say that's still Dean Ambrose.
I've never been a huge fan of Ambrose the wrestler. Ambrose the character is more the selling point feature.
I guess so. You know what it is they just keep missing the mark with him. They just keep they keep
like
trying to give him a regular ass moveset for a guy who's supposed to be crazy. Like, what the fuck's wrong with you?
Keep in mind that like I'm familiar with the John Moxley character, which was of course Dean Ambrose before WWE when he was in CZW.
Yeah. I saw his
lots of CZW.
I think he had a tryout match for TNA or something like that. I watched that match. That was good.
It was good. Yeah, it was good. But like he was as a pure in ring guy. He never blew me away. What blew me away was the character work, the promos, I mean, if you need a laugh any day of the week, just look up him doing the dialogue from Point Break, but instead of being Keanu Reeves and Gary Busey, he's actually playing as Patrick Swayze and Keanu Reeves. He's doing it as Dusty Rhodes and Terry Funk.
Nice. I was legit going to let you roll with the Gary Busey thing. I'm like, well, this is intriguing. Where are we going with this?
Well, Gary Busey was in the movie. It's a fair mistake.
No, I'm interested. Keep going. Yo! Remember the Alamo!
But yeah, it's Dusty Rhodes. He's playing Dusty Rhodes playing Keanu Reeves and Terry Funk playing Patrick Swayze.
I gotta get that. I gotta find that.
I'm a secret agent, Brody.
I think you should definitely find that and put the link in the doobly-doo. I
will. That's a good one. It's really enjoyable. Like, fantastic outside character. Just not. He's a very solid worker. I'm not gonna say Ambrose is terrible or whatever, but like in terms of like, if I'm going with like must see matches, like there are people above him. Whereas if we're going must see promos, he's very high up.
Yeah.
Although speaking of storylines, real quick here, just we're talking in NXT about all the stupid storylines. Like there's a seed there and whatever, but they're crap. This is one here because you have the whole Ambrose backstabbed Rollins. We're supposed to feel bad for Rollins. I'm sorry you played that clip of him taking a chair to Dean Ambrose's back and skull. And Roman Reigns' back and skull when the Shield first broke up a few too many times for me to feel bad for Seth fucking Rollins.
We should definitely get the audio for that promo, but then get the video for all the Seth Rollins betrayal angles. How could he possibly do this?
How could Dean Ambrose be so heartless as to turn on a guy who caved his skull in?
What a bastard.
Like, literally put his head through a cinder block. Like, that's a problematic storyline. Like if you played this off as kind of like an ironic, you got what you deserve kind of storyline, and then like Ambrose takes it too far or something. I don't know how he would do that. Get Rollins' family involved or something. I don't know. He goes further than Rollins did basically. Then you could get me feeling bad for Rollins, but this is just not going to work.
Mm-mm.
Like, and I understand that, like, this is pro wrestling. You're kind of supposed to forget some things because people turn heel and face, and to properly react to it.
Fuck that. I demand some fucking coherency.
Well, it's not even coherency. It's the fact that, like, this is the Rockers, basically. If the Rockers got back together, it was Shawn Michaels, Marty Jannetty, tag team champions, and then Jannetty turned on Shawn Michaels. It would be like the most justified heel move of all time. Like, that's the thing. And therefore, it doesn't really become a heel move. That's the problem. Yeah. So that's your problem. You can't reverse to this. Like, if you had Rollins turn on Ambrose again, I guess it makes Ambrose look too dumb. But I don't know. If you want to do heel Dean and you want to break up the Shield again, have him turn on Roman. Like, Roman was going away with like leukemia anyways, so like, you know.
Yeah, that's the ultimate
week
heel
before,
move.
Boom, heel move. There you go. Now he's got the heel heat. Rollins is the babyface. You can do this feud again. Boom, you're golden. Like that becomes a money making feud at that point.
Yep.
But anyways, we had The Bar with Big Show versus AOP with Spud, and this was a
shit show.
Excellent match. With like great moves for athleticism for AOP, really kind of put them over a lot. But then we had the whole Spudrick getting choked and bleeding himself thing.
Yeah, and there's a rumor going around that WWE, triple billion-dollar company, gave him a gimmick to squeeze water over his dick so it looked like he pissed his pants. And apparently the rumor, this is just a rumor, that the gimmick didn't work because there's such a fucking bunch of clown shoes. So he had to literally pee himself.
Nice.
I don't think that's legit. I'm going to go out on a limb and say not legit, but that's a rumor that exists.
It would explain why it took them so fucking long to get the whole gimmick over. Anyways, it facilitated the bar getting rolled up by AOP. AOP wins because they're from Raw.
Yeah.
I mean, admittedly, I would have had AOP win this match. They just took the titles. You want to give them some legitimacy. But, like, I can't, like here, I can point to literal matches that SmackDown should have won. Like, Nakamura should have beat Rollins, and if you want to protect Rollins, you just have Ambrose interfere. Like, that's all you need to do.
Yep.
I would have, I mean, I guess you kind of want to give SmackDown the women's match because I'm struggling to find ways to make this competitive overall, but I don't see how that SmackDown team is supposed to win. Like, it was just so, well, no, Asuka goes full blast and, like, destroys everyone on Team Raw. There's your answer right there. Boom.
That would involve them pushing somebody with a brain in their fucking head.
You couldn't really have Rousey lose. You couldn't have Lesnar lose. So, I mean, I'm okay with Raw winning the tally. But the other thing was they really didn't even acknowledge it during the course of the night. Like, they literally were still talking about SmackDown versus Raw during Bryan versus Lesnar in the main event. And I'm like, there is no SmackDown versus Raw. SmackDown has got its ass kicked and handed to them. Like, it doesn't matter if Bryan wins this match.
Yeah, just none of this made any sense, and of course, I guess Road Dogg's probably going to blame the rest of us for just not understanding the stuff that he was reading or writing.
You wrote what? Hang on, what was the official record here? 1 and 1, 1 and 2, 1 and 3, 1 and 4, 5, 1 and 6. You made SmackDown go 1 and 6. Like, what's the storyline development of it? SmackDown went 1 and 6. 1 win, 6 losses.
That's 6-0, sir. They literally had 6-0 up on this fake ass score sheet for the whole thing.
I'm counting the pre-show match.
But it's 6-0, sir.
Well, yeah, that was the other thing is they like I hadn't seen the pre-show match, so I assumed that this was not a thing when I was writing my notes. But like they're like clean sweep. I'm like, are you just assuming people don't watch the pre-show? Like,
well,
like,
why would
have we gone that far in?
Yeah, I'm assuming that the WWE is so dumb, fucking, and shitty that they will basically pay a fuckload of people to star in, produce, and actively broadcast a thing they expect no one to watch. I think that's exactly how they think. That they were just going to, listen, we could save, I don't know,
see the
couple of $1 million if we don't even do this. So let's, like, why wouldn't we throw away a couple of $1 million every single time we do a pay-per-view?
Anyways, we then had Mustafa Ali challenging Buddy Murphy. This was fine.
It was fine.
Retains. Yeah, I'm okay with it. Perfectly happy with it. Team Raw, consisting of Bobby Lashley, Finn Balor, Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre, and Braun Strowman versus Team SmackDown, consisting of Miz, Jeff Hardy, Samoa Joe, Rey Mysterio, and Shane. Because Shane McMahon.
There was a time I really liked Shane McMahon as a character and as a wrestler, and that time is gone.
They've lost the plot. Fucking hell.
Completely. Like, they're talking about him doing a heel turn. He's been a heel for a year.
Mm-hmm.
He's been a heel he's been the guy who persecuted wrestlers
for
a year.
Also, no one gives a fuck about a McMahon being heel.
Not at all. Not even close does anybody give a shit about a McMahon being heel. That's just McMahon.
It's just the family. Jesus, we treat them as heels even when they're faces.
Yep.
Also, this match lost me right at the start because Samoa Joe got immediately eliminated with a Claymore.
Yeah, I literally don't remember anything else about this match.
The only member of Team SmackDown that I was interested in seeing do shit with members of Team Raw, and you eliminated him. Fuck.
Yeah, as soon as that happened, I just tuned out. I tuned out for the rest of the pay-per-view efficiently after that. There's no point. You got rid of Samoa Joe, who's the only person on that team worth wrestling. So that match is out the window. That's 24 minutes of your pay-per-view gone, down the drain. Take a giant dump on that. I know that they're not going to let Ronda Rousey lose to Charlotte Flair, so that's gone out the window. I don't give a shit about that. And then I just assumed that they would job Daniel Bryan out in 20 seconds flat. They drug that out to almost 20 minutes for no fucking reason.
To be honest, it was kind of over already, because at this point, Raw was already up 3-0, and you knew the last two matches were going Raw's way, so it's like, alright, so the question is it 5-1 or 6-0? Like, that was it.
Who gives a shit?
Which is actually even worse, because you're like, well, I kind of assume SmackDown will get a win, right? Nope. Yeah, I mean, you had Drew McIntyre and Braun Strowman having issues throughout the match. The action was fine, but like SmackDown getting buried here in the sense because you have Raw, which is this dysfunctional team, and still beating them. And the announcers again failing with the plot. It's all been the blue team. It's amazing. Yeah, Joe's been eliminated and all of Raw is still legal, you dumbasses. Yes, they put Braun Strowman through a table, but that was about it. And keep in mind, they put Braun Strowman through a table with Shane McMahon, so Shane's fucking out of it anyways. So you're basically down to Hardy, Miz, and fucking Mysterio. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so, yeah, like, none of the rest of the pay-per-view mattered at all. Who gives a shit? So, and to cap all that off, on Raw, they made no reference at all, completely without context, that anything had happened the night before. Nothing happened the night before. There was no 6-0, 6-1, 17-2, whatever the fuck. Nothing happened. They referenced no storylines. They referenced no big win.
Despite Baron Corbin and Shane McMahon making a big deal about bragging rights and the need to win and blah, blah. Also, can we stop having Baron Corbin at ringside in matches where he's not going to interfere? Because it's really bad.
They're paying him way too much money to not just have him stand around.
Manager Baron Corbin is a terrible concept unless he's going to do something. Yeah, you wound up with Lashley, McIntyre, and Braun Strowman surviving the match. By the way, you had all this, you're hyping up the tension between McIntyre and Braun this whole match. They both survived it. So, I don't even know what that was for. I mean, future feud, I guess, and I'm kind of interested to see it.
Who gives a shit?
There was no payoff in this match.
Who gives a shit if there's a future feud? Fuck.
I just assume there will be at this point.
There absolutely is, except for then they immediately yanked Braun Strowman out of circulation because he has to get surgery on his elbow, which they've known about for months.
Mm-hmm.
So they put all this bullshit together in order to just kill it.
Well, there you go. You have Drew McIntyre, like, I don't know, miss a Claymore or something and hit Braun right in the fucking arm, and it eliminates Braun from the match somehow, and injured his arm, and you built up a feud a hell of a lot more than they did in this match.
Anything would be good. Anything at all. Anything but this.
The best part of this match was actually Lio Rush's random appearances at ringside doing shit. Like, that was basically it. And Miz trying to be buddy-buddy with Shane McMahon is going to make me vomit. But anyways. Then we had Ronda versus Charlotte. This was really good. It was brutal. It was interesting. I don't think I've quite seen a match unfold quite with this moveset with women before, which is nice. But there are some serious low points in terms of Ronda Rousey's past, we'll put it that way, because one, you have Charlotte Flair randomly out grappling her, and which has been the constant kind of problem with Ronda, is that they keep portraying her as a striker for some strange fucking reason. Like, they'll have her, like, her punches in the corner are the big threat, really, not like the armbar and the judo tosses, really. So that's a bit of a failure. And they keep, and they're like, well, does Ronda have the cardio? I'm like, MMA career Ronda did go deep into fights and was fine. Her problem was mental fortitude, which you won't bring up because it'll probably make Ronda mad.
Yeah, but I didn't care. There's no reason to give a shit about this match.
No, it's pretty shit. Charlotte eventually assaults her with a kendo stick, chair, Pillmanizes her neck. Commentary was atrocious, and I just want like a full on to all WWE announcers. If Vince McMahon is in your ear telling you to beg someone to stop things or to call the cops, just don't, because we've seen attempted murder on this show.
We've seen full-on murder on the show.
We have, but I mean, very recently we've seen Braun Strowman attempt to kill various people. We have seen Roman Reigns try to kill Braun Strowman. We have seen Miz, The Bar, and Kane try to kill Braun Strowman when they threw him in the garbage truck. The cops aren't coming. Stop calling for them. Thank you. That is all.
Yeah, there's no reason to give a shit about this match. They're not going to have Ronda Rousey lose. They'll probably throw away a cheap fucking throwaway loss at WrestleMania just to probably Stephanie McMahon for no reason whatsoever. They're saving that to just, oh, you know what? They'll probably do it at Fastlane to completely and utterly flush Ronda Rousey right down the drain. That's probably when it's going to happen.
And then we basically talked about the Daniel Bryan, Brock Lesnar thing, and there were two basic problems with it, which is Daniel Bryan working as a face, getting his ass kicked, and then coming back. So it was a standard Lesnar match, but with a heel. And it's like, so we have our plucky underdog heel. That's that makes a little sense. Why not just have this be a squash match? Because we all know who's going to win. Like, we all know this. Like, that's all there's to it.
And I can't count how many times I asked if this match was over already. I mean, just make it over. We know that you've wasted billions. Like, has he paid Lesnar? What, half of...
And they did the Lesnar typical thing where he's got the match won, he pulls up Daniel like, no, we're not done yet. He's a heel, just pin him.
Yeah. Like, has he paid Lesnar $500 million yet? Because it feels like that's about what he's paid for.
It's not been that much, but it's been ridiculous.
$200 million.
It's been ridiculous for a guy who I could be wrong on this, and if someone wants to pull out like the ratings numbers, but I don't think Lesnar even really pops the crowd in ratings anymore. Like,
not at all.
Think that's a thing.
He makes me want to turn things off because I know it's going to be boring after that.
Because like there was a time when Lesnar was exciting. He would do like some cool things in the matches and whatever, but like his matches are now all the same, including if a guy is a heel that he's facing. And we know he's not going to lose. And so you have a predictable result, predictable step-by-step match. That's basically it. Like there is no reason to watch a Brock Lesnar match anymore.
And on that bombshell, I have to pee.
Okay. I will go through the NXT 21st show because I think, honestly, we can summarize it in recap form.
Probably. I'll just be right back. God damn it.
We'll see if I finish before you return. We had Keith Lee defeat Fidel Bravo in a squash match. We had Lars Sullivan defeat a jobber whose name didn't even really get brought up. Keith Lee came down to break up a post-match beatdown by Lars on said jobber. They were jawing at each other backstage. This sets up a feud, I guess, which I am excited for, and that was probably the highlight of the show. And we had one proper match, which was Candice LeRae versus Nikki Cross. Have a number of problems with the setup to this. We've talked about it before, but the Candice LeRae Nikki Cross feud doesn't really make any sense. because Nikki was telling the truth, but we're not really doing a heel turn with Candice, who came out here in full bubblegum poppy face mode to face off with Nikki Cross, who is also a face, or more of a tweener, I suppose. I don't think you ever really can truly have a face, Nikki Cross. And they had a good match. Ending came out a bit of nowhere. Nikki went from getting her ass kicked to hitting Twist and Shout for the pin. Or is it Twist and Shout when she uses? Twist and Shout is really the move I associate with it, but they may have a different name for it with her. I'm talking about the Nikki Cross Candice LeRae match.
It was alright.
It was good. I was a little bit anti the ending just because it kind of came out of nowhere, and her finishing move is not one that you really can do that with, I think, terribly well.
Wasn't the finish the Hangman's pile driver or the Hangman's DDT or something?
Hangman's DDT, yeah. After Nikki Cross had almost gotten pinned and was getting her butt kicked.
Yeah.
It was kind of like just a random turnaround. It was like, all right, I kick out at 2, I land 1 clubbing blow, and then Hangman DDT you for the pin. It's a bit of a weird finish. It's not like you hit an RKO or something, which, like, don't get me wrong, the RKO out of nowhere is a really overplayed thing, but it is a move that does lend itself to a very random finish.
Yeah, it's called the Diamond Cutter.
Yeah, Diamond Cutter, or various other forms of the Cutter, the Ace Crusher when Homicide does it.
Or when Johnny Ace does it.
Or it's not the Ace Crusher when Homicide does it. What is it? He has a different name. He has a different name for it. But anyways,
isn't it just like the 187 or something like that?
No, that's a different move. But like the Hangman's DDT, not really lending itself to a random finish when you've been getting your butt kicked. Not like the whole match or anything, but like for the preceding 35 to 45 seconds.
Homicide does not have a listed moveset.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Come on, Wikipedia.
Yeah, I'm hoping this feud is over because it made no sense to begin with.
None at all. None whatsoever.
Like it feels like this feud needed to be backed up a couple of weeks before we knew that Gargano had attacked Black, and then you can have them have a match, because it could be like, you're accusing my husband of something, I'm gonna get revenge, but now it's like, you said something that my husband absolutely did, but I'm still gonna come out as a babyface to face you and get justice. For who exactly?
I'm gonna be angry at you for speaking the truth. What are you, Trump?
Like, unless Candice LeRae goes hardcore heel off of this, which it looked like they were gonna do. They had her in the black, the black
lipstick,
look,
the whole shenanigans.
So on. Yeah. And then she comes out here, bubblegum princess face again. I don't get it. The entire women's division right now, I don't get it.
It don't make no kind of sense.
And that's all we got for this week. Enjoy the clip I'm going to put in the description. And Byron, do you have anything to say to the nice people?
Vote Quimby.
Vote Diamond Joe Quimby.